What's up everybody, BioBen here, back with another video. So we've had a big ACC update, and I kind of had a thought. Did Assetto Corsa Competizione ever leave early access? I know they said it did, but the way they're rolling out new features in every update, even after 1.0, it seems kind of like it still was in early access. I don't mean this necessarily to be derogatory. Since 1.0, we've had massive updates to things like the AI. They can actually do endurance races now. The tire model, aero, damage, and now we have chassis flex and brake wear. I didn't even realize that brake wear wasn't being simulated, which I guess is my fault, and maybe I really didn't need it. I haven't really been racing long races, so I hadn't really noticed. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. I don't want it to seem like I'm dumping on sim, but getting more accurate simulation is always good, and we'd like to have that from the off, but it just seems a little strange that people were okay not having these features. Maybe like me, they didn't realize they weren't implemented, or maybe we're just more accepting of ongoing development. I'd like to hear your opinions on this topic. Early access in general, things releasing without features and then getting them later, developers responding to feedback. These are all, I think, good things in a lot of ways, but I'd like to hear your opinion on the situation. So leave me a comment down below and let me know what you think. Obviously, whenever you get a big update with new options and, simulation elements added, that's going to change the meta of things. So if you've been really into ACC racing, things like the new brake model are probably going to change how you race and the strategies you race with. So I'd love to hear your opinion on this. So I think the bigger question is, as consumers, are we okay with games launching this way? With early access, basically continuing past 1.0, being charged full price, although I know ACC was a bit lower than $60, which is kind of a normal full price game, and then having a lot of features kind of dribbled out later. I know that's kind of loaded language, but really that's what's occurred, right? The tire model was the big thing. The 1 point of contact tire model being updated to 5 points was really big, and it would have been nice to have that from the off. I know it's a small team, but yeah, this is interesting, and I'm interested to hear everybody's opinion on it. I really think, for me, I'm not sure I have a strong opinion either way, because I haven't really fully devoted myself to ACC. I think in the end it's going to be a great product, and I think already it is quite good. But along the way, some things have turned me off. When I initially tried to do endurance racing, the AI was broken, and all ran out of fuel 2.5 hours into a 6-hour race attempt. And there's been a lot of little bugs and weird things that have kind of annoyed me when they're super worried about putting in, left hand and right hand indicators and the UI is all goofy. That's kind of frustrating. I think ultimately for me, the problem with ACC has been the focused content. I don't always want to race GT3 on the Blancpain circuits. So for someone like me who's very eclectic in my tastes, it hasn't really grabbed me. I'm probably in the minority. I know a lot of people love it, and it's probably the best place to race GT3 cars. I'm not gonna deny that, but it just hasn't quite grabbed me the way some other things like Project Cars 2, Assetto Corsa, the original, and R-Factor 2 for endurance racing really have grabbed me a little bit more. ACC's there, but it just doesn't quite fit my use case. Oh, and could they try to pick a UI that they stick with? Every update, they seem to be changing the UI, and every time I go back, I never know where anything is. Well, in any case, on to a summary of the new update. Lots of cool features in here. First off, there's numerous UI updates. Yay! Actually, this is really a good thing. I think it's for the better. Things like the car select screen in the showcase area are really much more intuitive now. You can quickly navigate to a car you want and pick it. Plus it shows all the options for, lighting and spec with all the different liveries and drivers. And you can open and close the doors and turn the lights on, stuff like that. That's all really cool. We also have a whole host of new HDR options added. I don't have HDR display, but I'm sure people that have been asking for that are very happy now. Another big feature, Livery Editor. We have a Livery Editor now. I haven't played with it yet, but I'm really excited to see all the creativity that people come up with. There is a bit of a catch. Some cars can't be edited due to licensing issues, but it's better than nothing, I think. We also, of course, have AI updates. They continue to tune them. They've made Porsches less dominant and have prevented massive dive bombs in like chicanes. Generally just tweaked the aggression and the setups that the AI use. I still had some issues in my testing. I'll throw in a clip here of some racing I was doing at the Nürburgring, and the opponent car just kind of carried on off the circuit and then decided he wanted to come back on, and I was in the way, so I got took out. It's not perfect, but really in general, they seemed very safe and conscientious in the pack, at least. This did lead to some kind of unexpected slowness in places, but I think overall they're very good. And that's good news for people who don't race online, like myself. I don't always race online, so AI is always welcome. There's a lot of new multiplayer options that have been updated, including custom BOPs that can be run on specific servers, which I'm sure is going to be very helpful for leagues that want to balance out the grid so that we don't end up with one car being dominant and the others just getting blown out of the water. So that's good news. Very technical, though. You can read it in the notes. VR got some world scale options. This is obviously important for people with different headsets where the VR scale looks off. Visual updates. Well, we include cars getting dirty now. Flag marshals were added in some specific places. Very minute details have been adjusted, but sometimes the details matter, and I think that's really, in a lot of ways, what makes ACC so interesting. It's that the details are there, including things like the little Motec display and things, the race logic display being updated and being able to be changed. Those are all really, really interesting and cool. A big one is car body damage. There's been a lot of update to that. On the subject of damage, it seems like the damage model has been reworked a whole lot. And in particularly, if you repeatedly hit one area, damage will increase a lot. I did notice in my testing that damage did seem to matter now. Previously in ACC, I never felt that the car would get very damaged. You had to do a lot to it to really get it to slow down or have any effects. But I had a big wreck in the clip I showed earlier, and it really messed up the car, and it messed up the bodywork, which all looked very good and felt very realistic. Other physics changes, well, a lot of cars have been tweaked. Puddles got tweaked. There's a new wet tire model that slows the lap time down and gives a bit better control when sliding. That's good news. We don't want wet tires being too fast. We've seen that in the past. Aero for slipstreaming and vertical fins got some updates. Chassis flex. You can go into the details of the quantification of this probably, but that's interesting. That's a deep sim level thing that I'm not sure we needed, but it's interesting. It's cool that it's there. I'm not sure how accurate it is or things like this, but I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. It'll change how cars feel and probably get them a little more realistic. That's always good. They've also implemented altitude simulation for engine power. I'm not sure, again, how much this is going to matter. None of the tracks are really at really high altitudes as far as I know. But yeah, it's there, so we're getting more things. The whole tire model as a whole also got updated. The slicks got some updates and tweaks. Again, they're probably taking feedback from all the racing that's being done and implementing tweaks, which is good. Now the big one, brakes. So previously, I don't think they had brake duct implemented early. They put that in. Now we have brake wear and brake pad compounds, so giving us more options. We have 4 new brake pad compounds. Some are good for hot laps, some are good for short races, some are good for endurance races. You can read a full description of it online. I have the link in the description below. But this is really pretty cool. It adds the simulation element. If you're racing long enough for it to matter, I think probably league racers or people that are doing that will greatly appreciate this, though. And you can change the brakes, too, if you're doing a long endurance race. You can change the brakes in your pit stop and get fresh brakes. To top it off, there's been tweaks to the rating system and a whole smattering of other things. Seems like little fixes everywhere, and they're leaving no stone unturned. I'm interested to see what comes next in terms of simulation. It seems they keep adding more and more simulation elements, which I think ultimately is going to result in a better product. Let's hope that they get this engine open for something like an Assetto Corsa 2, where we can have mods in this. That would be really cool, because I really love the driving model and the engine and stuff like that, but the limited content is kind of the downside of that. And I guess having limited content makes it very focused and allows us to get a very polished experience. Polished. It's not always polished, but it's very, very good. Of course, you can find all the update notes at the link in the description below. And as always, if you like this, make sure you hit the like button for me. If you're not already, consider subscribing to the channel and check me out on Instagram, Twitter. I have a Discord. You can come join us over there. And that is it for me. Thanks for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it. Happy racing, and I'll see you later. Bye for now.